Good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, I did want to thank Meg, Nick, and the team at Vet Indexes for organizing such a meaningful event. I wanted to thank everyone else for joining us here today on the topic of the big impact of employing veterans in small organizations. This topic is not only timely, but essential and personal to me as my spouse is actively deployed on board the USS Winston Churchill with the US Navy. As of 2025, the United States is home to approximately 17.6 living veterans, representing about 7% of the working age population. According to the US Census Bureau, more than 1.24 million enlisted service members had entered the civilian workforce since 2016. Each year, thousands of service members transition into civilian life, bringing with them a wealth of experience, discipline, and leadership that can be transformative for small organizations. But without further ado, I wanted to go around this virtual room and provide an opportunity for our panelists to introduce themselves, as well as share their personal experience and professional experiences with veteran employment. We'll explore how these experiences have shaped their organization and what veteran traits best stand out to small employers. So kicking us off today, please join me in welcoming Leslie Coffey from ACP. Leslie, welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Peggy. I'm Leslie Coffey. I'm the VP of Military Engagement for ACP. I'm also a veteran spouse. I'm not a veteran myself. My service member just wrapped up 30 years last year, so we're adjusting to this side of the gates. And ACP is a nationwide nonprofit. We focus on combating underemployment, one veteran, one spouse at a time. So I'll be speaking from the different lens of the nonprofit space and how veterans make such an impact as part of our mission. And I'm an alumna of the program. Actually, my mentor changed my trajectory. So that's the whole reason I joined the team. I look forward to learning from others on the panel.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Ken, please take the stage.
Oh, sure. Ken Cates, appreciate it, y'all. I am a veteran. 27 years I served. I was one of those knuckleheads that got in and got out and got in and got out. So I experienced the transition on many different levels and modes. So 4 years Coast Guard, 23 Army. And so I experienced that transition, but I've got the experience between civilian workforce. After I retired, I was the CEO of a nonprofit organization here in Central Texas, construction related. And then after that, I've been consulting for the last couple of years, helping veteran-owned businesses grow as currently the strategic growth director for Major Talent. That's where we provide free resources for our veterans. So helping them get connected with employers, realizing the untapped talent that the veteran community has so that they can drive to strategically grow those businesses.
Thank you so much, Ken. And Chris, let's hear from you.
Great. Thanks for your time. It's an honor to be here. I'm here from a different perspective. I never served in the military, which is one of life's regrets. I'm the co-founder and I run a veteran organization called Soldier Strong. But professionally, up until recently, I've spent 25 plus years in the financial services industry, all with major big institutions. And so I come from a perspective where, like every branch of the military, they're large institutions, but they drill down into platoons, companies, battalions, brigades, everything from your cubicle mate where you've got your six. And so I've seen those military traits transfer over from a branch of the military and that institution over into the corporate world. And so I'll talk from that perspective.
Thank you so much, Chris. And last but not least, Derek Green.
Hello, everyone. My name is Derek Green. I did serve in the Army as a military policeman for 21 years. I started a company called Waffles and Whatnot, which has become a wild success, and I'm very thankful for it. And additional, as an employer of veterans within my business, I enjoy some of these benefits. So I'm actually very much looking forward to having this conversation wherever it goes today and answering questions. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. So, it's not lost on us that our topic is the big impact of employing veterans and military spouses in our small organizations. And so, as we can tell, we have some amazing people here today to share their experiences. So to get us started, we wanted to kind of dive into a little bit more of what that means. So I'm inviting each of the panelists to talk about their personal experience with employing veterans within their own organizations, whether it is a business perspective or your lived experience as a veteran or a spouse. So again, Leslie, if you could get us started on that and your experience.
No pressure. So how much time do we have? Because wow, our impact has been transformational since we've brought on both veterans and spouses. Quick story comes to mind for a veteran, a woman veteran. She joined our team and, long story short, doubled our reach as far as social media. With that, of course, with that out of the box thinking and always trying to come up with new solutions, there was a way that we were trying to connect employers and veterans and spouses looking for employment. We have mentors from more than 1,800 companies. We have 125 corporate partners, and all of those partners want to get their opportunities in front of the more than 5,000 that are currently in our program today. But it was this challenge of how do we connect the two, right? Especially with it always being so rapid. Well, her great thought was, let's create a group, and that's where they go to drop those jobs, and that's where they go to look for them. And now there's more than 30,000 in that group. And that was just because of her thinking through, how can we solve this problem? On the spouse side of the house, very proud to say that I'm actually the very first remote spouse for ACP. Our founder took a chance on me. Within a few months, he said, it's working for me. Let's make it a full-time thing. And within 18 months, then he said, I need more of you. So fast forward, now 30% of our staff are remote spouses. And we've actually doubled the amount of alum and applicants that come through our program in that amount of time. So we can have transformational growth to companies.
Thank you so much. Ken, Chris, and Derek, please share your experiences.
Sure. Well, obviously it was the time I was in the service. On my way out, last couple of years, I was able to connect a lot more, doing some networking and learning from a lot of the other veterans on the outside. And like Leslie mentioned, I was actually one of those candidates that experienced the great resources that ACP offers. But on the way out, I was one of the lucky ones. As I transitioned out, I had a deacon actually assist me from my church that said, hey, we want to keep you in the area. We know that you have 7 daughters and you guys are wanting to not travel anymore. So yes, hence this, right? But he introduced me to the nonprofit world. I took over as CEO of Habitat for Humanity here in Central Texas. As the organization, as we grew it and expanded what it was doing, of course, my focus was veterans, not only on services side, but employing them. So I took the time to go over and not only look at resumes, but help them on the transition side. But I had the luck and benefit of Fort Hood right outside our gates, and being able to research and find the veterans. Just quick example, had a veteran that was retired, got out, didn't need anything to do. He just wanted to stay busy, and got a hold of me, sent me what he has to offer. And I said, well, I already know what you have to offer. I said, I used to fill the position you hold now as he's retiring, and brought him into the fold, put him in charge of the entire veteran services program, expanded that beyond 3 counties, took on 2 more counties. He took it and ran with it. And that's one of the core strategic advantages of hiring a veteran, finding that a veteran, employing a veteran. Small, whether you be growth focused, you're small, big, doesn't matter. The veterans, they're used to high autonomy. They got to do things on their own. So that's their experience with that, obviously, especially when failure is not an option. And that's what Dave did. Took it, ran with it, grew it to a point that I didn't even have to check in on him, really. He just basically, here's my report and this is where we're at. And obviously we saw that growth. Those are the benefits of the veterans and beyond. There's so many more. And Leslie, I'm glad you're here. And congrats on everything you're doing on the spouse side. Because I tell you what, I don't know, I'm jumping the gun here a little bit, but the military spouse is one of the few that are overlooked often They're the COO, the CFO, CE. They're everything C-suite when it comes to taking care of everything, logistics, moves, all those things, whether they have a job at the same time or not. They were in charge of all that. So don't dissuade the military spouse either.
Well, I appreciate the love, Ken. That is really meaningful, and it's really cool to hear the contrast in the stories, even just between Ken and Leslie, in their shared experiences. But looking forward to hearing from you, Chris.
Yeah, before I start, Jim Beamsdorfer in the chat, I was thinking the same thing. So, Ken, you've got 7 daughters. And I agree with you, Jim. He said you deserve a medal or 2 or at least 7. So hats off to you and God bless. And maybe that's why you went back to the military for so long. I don't know. I've got 2 and that's enough. So God bless you, man. But yeah, so again, I came from a different angle, again, from the institutional side. And so 2 of the 3 big institutions I worked for, they went out of their way to hire veterans. And Ken used a word the other day when we talked about being veteran friendly or veteran driven. And Ken, I'll let you talk about that a little bit later because I don't want to steal your thunder on that because that was your phrase, which again, I loved. But, you know, every institution has the same goal in terms of, you know, winning the war, again, whether it's a company or the military. And that war is, you know, serving your client, you know, making them succeed and making your firm succeed. And, you know, when a veteran joins a company, what I would suggest is, you know, on day one, when you're filling out all those forms, your payroll, your insurance forms, 401k, all that stuff, just ask and say, hey, is there a veteran affinity group, or is there, you know, an ERG? Depends on what firm you're with and what they call it. And that way you can just meet somebody who's been through the process, who served, you know, maybe the same branch, maybe a different branch, maybe it's a veteran spouse, and just, you know, get the lay of the land. It's somebody just to know who's someone else in the company, maybe they're in your division or your team, but to help you kind of navigate the waters as you're on board, but then also help you transfer those military skills into private sector skills, which, you know, quite frankly, you can have a 14-page military resume. And sometimes it's hard to drill that down to a 1 or 2-page private sector resume. But if you can do it in the military, you can absolutely do it in the private sector because you've done so many more jobs and you have so many more skills in the military sector versus the private sector. And so sometimes you just need help trying to figure out how to whittle that down, but don't be afraid to help. And you know, we know those in the military, you're not going to be the one to put a spotlight on yourself because that's not what you do. You're a team player. I've mentioned before that, you know, well, I'll get to that later in the conversation, but, you know, don't be afraid to promote yourself a little bit as you get more comfortable in your role. And just, you know, do your best, which is what you've always done.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Chris. Those are some great words. And I think that's something that can be carried out whether you're in service, transitioning, a spouse, looking for a job, or actively employed. Derek, let's hear about your shared experience of, just to reiterate the topic, you know, your personal experience with employing veterans within your organization, whether it is your lived experience or your experience in being an employer.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the conversation from everybody. From my perspective, the first veteran that I hired was actually myself. Being able to take a chance on myself and starting a business where so many people were just like, man, stay in the military or go to the safe route. You get a good job. You have these amazing job offers. Some of them offering to triple or quadruple your military pay in order to join their companies. But I had a dream and a vision and I went after it. To Ken's point, most veterans that I know like to work independently. Assign me a task and let me go. Let's see what I can actually do with this and let me provide this back to you as a report. Almost in a way of, hey, I'm seeking that, hey, I'm proud of you, good job type mentality with a lot of veterans. So the veterans that I've employed, I had to understand something because Chris mentioned something, that transferal of skills from military skills to the civilian sector. And it's not just being able to translate that on paper. It's also a mentality. It's a paradigm shift that has to occur when employing veterans. And there's a different level of camaraderie in the military versus the civilian sector. And I had to learn that. Things that I expected to happen, you know, because you can tell a military member to go do something and they go execute. versus in the civilian sector where there seems to be a need often to provide oversight more so than with veterans. So hiring veterans to me is a no-brainer. I'm in Alaska outside Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson. We service a lot of Army and Air Force veterans here, and whether it's the veterans or the spouses that come through and they're looking for employment, we're looking for ways to engage them by seeking what is their best skill, what is it that they're trying to actually achieve with their life. You know, they've served in the military, and that part of their legacy is cemented. Nobody can take that away from them. But what are you trying to achieve next? And in doing that, we're empowering the dreams of people and working with national organizations like the National Restaurant Association's Skill Bridge program, or their education fund, different things like this, where we're seeking to highlight those skills that veterans bring to the table. And also to Ken's point earlier, how he brought in a veteran and just let him go. He pulled that string and let him go. I brought in a service member that ran dining facilities during his career. And when I brought him into this restaurant enterprise that I started, at some point, literally, I felt like a burden by me stepping into the business because I was stepping in his way. He was doing such an amazing job with it that he actually gave me my freedom to go and begin this expansion process of the business. So that's my take on this. I absolutely love employing veterans. I love employing veteran spouses because they also have a different level of discipline. They're used to doing things on their own as well, and managing in the absence of that partner who may be deployed, like Peggy's husband is right now. They develop a different skill set. So it's beautiful all around for me.
Absolutely, Derek, and I think you speak to a lot of people here when you say it is that that segue of trust, that assumption or that understanding that you have trustworthy people on your team. Trust them to do their jobs so that you can do yours. I think that is something that really resonated with me personally. But I did want to kind of take a shift here, from our shared personal experiences to maybe some commonalities that we can see that occur in hiring veterans and their spouses. So I wanted each speaker to kind of maybe mention one or two common veteran traits which has benefited your organization, whether it is technical traits or more personal traits. I did want to open up the discussion for that. I know I've been picking on Leslie a whole lot today, so I'll give Leslie a break if anyone else wants to start the floor on that.
I'll kick it off. I'll shoot.
Go, Chris.
Yeah, so I mentioned, again, coming from the institutional side, and I briefly touched on how, veterans put country over self. And as they transition into the business world, again, that, the company puts, the firm, or veteran view the firm over self. And so they aren't looking for self-promotion or to throw a colleague under the bus, to try and get their own promotion or to advance their career. And so they view it as only succeeding if the whole team succeeds. And certainly that is not how I'll say we, lay civilians would do that. We would, not always, but when the time might be right, throw somebody under the bus if it's going to benefit our personal career, because they're looking to climb the ladder. And so that's something you're not going to find in a veteran, because again, they're only looking to promote the entire team, the unit, the organization. But also I would say versatility. That person is going to be able to look for where they can, be that square peg in a round hole to fill whatever job is needed. As I mentioned, that 14-page resume, there's a lot of skills that they have. They may have been hired for one specific thing or role or team, but there's a lot of other skills as you peel back that onion that you're going to find that they may have not have known about, or the hiring manager may not have asked about. And so that individual is going to have a lot more skills that learned and lived experiences that aren't known just because they weren't asked. And so again, firm over self, country over self, and versatility, I think, are two major, very positive skill sets that a veteran brings to any organization, big or small.
If I could piggyback, Peggy, absolutely co-sign on everything Chris is saying. given from the small organization lens, and especially nonprofit, obviously we have to be very lean. So we're going to wear several hats within our organization. You're not going to have one lane. So that versatility, adaptability that Chris is talking about, being able to handle multiple roles or multiple different lanes at one time, calm under pressure, like it can be really tough right now. And I tell you, sometimes just the stillness that they are in these challenging times, it's uncertain, things are so in the air. And those military connected within our organization, they are the steady in these rough waters. And then lastly, I'll also, not to jump too much on Chris, but the work ethic. I will tell you, those military connected in my organization, they're going to get promoted at a faster rate than the non-military connected employees. They're going to have stronger retention. They have this loyalty about them, and that work ethic, you almost have to say, it's quitting time. It'll still be here for you tomorrow, because they just don't know when to stop. And I'd say that's both for veterans and spouse side of the house.
You're on mute, Ken.
That go mute button gets me every time. All right. Yeah, no arguments with you two. And that, Derek, I'm sure you got some of the same stories. But to your point, it's straight A's, all the A's, the accountability, adversity, ambiguity, you name an A. And that's what a veteran and a military spouse is going to bring to you. But on the other side of the house, veterans aren't going to come to you about the brick wall. They're not going to come to you with just the problem. They're going to come to you with the brick wall, but they're also going to come to you with how to go around it, over it, under it, or through it. They're going to come to you with the solution, and they're going to be able to advocate for the solution and make that happen. And Chris, to your earlier point, this is why and we at Major Talent feel the same way. We don't like companies that claim veteran friendly. If you have veteran friendly on your door at a store, a shop, or whatever, great. Thank you. Appreciate you. However, as an employer, it is akin to being pet friendly. Are you tolerating us? Are you going to clean up our mess? Or are you wanting to be that company that is veteran driven, where a veteran comes in and they drive success? They're going to drive and accelerate your success and project completion. And if you don't have a mission statement and you want veterans, you better figure that out fast, because the veteran will succeed for your mission. If you don't have a mission, an actual mission statement, get one today. But there are plenty of folks in the chat that could probably help you with a mission statement. But a veteran is going to help you succeed, especially with a mission statement.
Beautiful points from everybody. I like the acronym AIR. Being in the military, we're all about these acronyms. And for me, what veterans bring to the table is air to the business. So they bring a level of accountability and accessibility. Every veteran that I've employed has been a person that when they make a mistake or there's something that needs to be adjusted, they stand accountable. They stand on the carpet and they answer for whatever actions it is that they took or didn't take. And they're accessible. So being able to go to veterans and have those conversations with them, they can stand up to the tough conversations when maybe they're not measuring up to what it is that you expect. But oftentimes what I've found, to Ken's point, when you have a mission statement, or what in the military we used to call commander's intent, if they understand the commander's intent, then they can execute on that. But if I, as an employer, haven't been clear on that, then I can't hold them accountable for that, or I can't chastise them for anything like that. So I like the accountability and accessibility. That's the A. The I is for initiative and integrity. Those are big things for veterans that I've seen and veteran spouses. They like to have the initiative, especially as they understand the intent or what is it that I was trying to achieve. They will actually go out and begin executing. Even if it's not what I envisioned, I just need to provide a little bit of guidance to course correct something, and then again, let them go. And their integrity is something that reinforces that initiative. They hold themselves to a different standard than anyone else around them. And this may be a controversial statement, I don't know, but veterans versus a straight civilian person that's never served in the military, there's a different level of integrity that they maintain. And so when you challenge that integrity, you better be ready for some pushback on that. And for me, the final letter is that R, and that is the resilience. As a small company and a growing company here, I require people that are resilient, people that can face adversities, understand that the business has some ups and downs, is going to have ebbs and flows, and they're resilient and they're there with me. They're going to bounce back. Not only that, but they at times help shore me up if I need some motivation. I've had veterans come in and put a boot, for me. So that air is what I appreciate.
No, absolutely. I think in the effort of this particular topic, the big impact of employing veterans in small organization, that resiliency is a huge part of that, because I think everyone here and probably a lot of the people attending this discussion knows what it's like to grow through, whether it is, acquisitions, the company's growing, or maybe there's just new branches, new jobs. That resiliency, I think, is a key trait which sets veterans, among many other traits, that sets them apart. So I did want to thank you for that as well. I did see that we had some great questions here. So I did want to obviously provide an opportunity to connect and engage with our audience. Alpha Lewis fielded a question that said, I find it difficult to find you guys. What are some resources for vets and providers to find you and connect talent and mission? So that question to me means, how are we gonna connect the veteran talent pipeline to the mission of these small organizations?
Well, like I said earlier, obviously ACP is one of them. They are helping the veteran with a lot of the resources, the mentorship, and the connections. Major Talent, we bridge the gap between veterans and the employers, but there are a lot of other resources out there. If you are close to a military installation, get connected with they do have a transition assistance program. Chris, Leslie, and I had a discussion about that earlier. We won't share those soapbox moments here. Some are great, some are not, but it is drinking from a fire hose. However, get connected on LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn a lot. If you can't connect with one of these actual resources, that's our whole focus, then use LinkedIn. Check out the ones you can search. You don't have to have the extreme premium accounts. You can search and look at those that are open to work and have a veteran status. Read through those and connect. You can also connect with your local state veteran organizations. Example, Texas has Texas Veterans Commission. Oklahoma is the Oklahoma Department of Veterans Affairs. Every state has a different acronym for it, but they all have a state level veterans organization at state level.
And I think maybe just to piggyback on that quickly, just referencing ACP, if you go on your website, there's a list of every corporation that they work with. And so you can look at those. I think most, if not all of them, are Fortune 500 companies. But then, of course, the reason why we're here today is for Vets Indexes. They talk about all the companies they work with that are very vet driven and or vet friendly. And so we know, those are the folks that are looking to hire, the veterans or veteran spouses. And I'm not making a plug here, but it's a company I've worked with for about a decade. United Rentals, who's based in my hometown here in Connecticut. They are about 18%. They hire veterans. And so I just can't say enough for them, because they've been helping me in my veteran organization for about a decade. And so not a plug, just making an example of one company that's out there.
And if I could, Peggy, just go in a little bit more detail on ACP, especially for the DVOP. So you can look at our staff as force multipliers. Everyone that comes into our program has an assigned point of contact, and we pair a disabled veteran, for example, on a one-to-one basis with a mentor in the career path they're looking to get into. We do have more than mentors for more than 1,800 companies. So it's completely customized based on their unique journey. As far as the opportunity for jobs, we actually offer them the opportunity to put their resume in front of all of our corporate partners once a quarter. So it's an opt-in feature. We don't automatically do it. If they are interested, we put them in front of it. And then twice a week, we hold LinkedIn Lives with all of our partners, and they will share What's the culture like, how to get hired, things like this. So you have access to our network of 75,000 when you're with us, not just your mentor and not just the staff.
Thank you so much. I think, I'm very impressed with the resources that we're able to produce here. And there's, if you guys haven't been monitoring the chat, a lot of information flowing through there. I know that there's a lot going through there, so take your time. And please connect with some of the amazing people on here. Now, I did kind of want to segue into a little bit more of a challenging topic, which essentially goes about veteran integration. We mentioned the gaps in finding those pipelines. We mentioned the gaps in the skill set transfer. There's a lot of times where we have mentioned the challenges that veterans face once they've arrived in the workplace. As Senior Director of People Marketing and Compliance here at Warrior, obviously I'm here for a reason. I participated in the indexes, and we have a lot of veteran employees, and we're finding that some of the challenges surrounding our veteran employees is that self-advocacy. We talked about service of self. A lot of times these veterans will just be all willing and gung-ho and say yes, yes, yes to every single project. But I did feel that as an employer of veteran, I do feel a sense of responsibility to advocate for them because they might not know how to do that. So that's just one example of some of those challenges that veterans might experience in their transition into the civilian workplace. What kind of shared experience might some of you have?
If I can kick off, I don't know that it's so much that veterans don't know how to advocate for themselves. I think it's more of a level of pride and integrity that they have for themselves that oftentimes they allow themselves to become overburdened because, as someone mentioned earlier, the mission first and failure is not an option. And I'm a valuable member of this team, your organization, and I want to prove that to you. So whatever you put on my plate, I'm going to hold it. And it's one of those things that I've encountered with veterans where they don't ask for a smaller cross, they ask for a stronger back. So understanding that, it's incumbent upon the leadership team, Peg, and I appreciate the way that you said that you advocate on behalf of your veterans. Understanding that paradigm that they have, try not to overload them with various projects. And if you see that they're doing well or performing well in what they're doing, then how can you enhance that? Or when you begin to add things on, like add it in increments versus tackling on an entirely another large project on top of that.
No, and I appreciate that feedback. I do stand corrected. That's absolutely, paramount. It's going to be, they're going to continue to take on as much as they can. But we do need to, I think, start arming our leadership teams to be able to identify when that is taking place and kind of discern, what's are we being reasonable or are we taking advantage? But I wonder if anyone else has any shared experience on that topic.
Yeah, I think we talked about it earlier. I know when we were chatting together early in the week, it was more along the lines of the veteran resource groups. If you have, and not every business, I know we're primarily focused on the small organizations, but within your org, you have more than likely at least one veteran or a veteran spouse that understands those stresses. They're the first ones you should introduce them to as you bring them on board. It's not about the paperwork, it's not about the acronyms, it's about the connectivity and being able to say, hey, it's all right, brother, sister, we're good. Let your shoot out. You are going to have to slow down just a little bit. But having that resource is already there that has the connectivity, the do's and don'ts, and the translation from military over to civilian when it comes to the corporate specific jargon. That having that VRG, that veteran resource group, makes a huge difference. And again, it doesn't have to be daily, once a week, once a month, something.
Mm-hmm. Or just a Slack channel, right? Or a Teams channel that they can, a safe space that they can almost get a sanity check. Is this how this works? I would like to speak, if I could, briefly on how we've grown to 30% remote spouses. So we had to really look at and be flexible and think through the unique challenges in a spouse's life. So one thing, they're remote, so they can take the position with them. We do recognize that spouses can get it done regardless of the location. Put it to them, they'll get it done. But also we came up with unique hours, more flexible. So actually 9 to 3:30, thinking through, they could put the kiddos on the bus in the morning, get them off the bus, and if they need to, run to a T-ball game or whatever that looks like, we offer that flexibility. We also, in the years that we have just been increasing our spouses, we now have paid PTO for PCS leave. We don't want to charge them for PCSing. So now we've built that in part of our employee handbook. And again, we do recognize them as their own unique group, if you will. And we do have unique Slack channels that we kind of can peer-to-peer support. And they're as safe sounding boards. Like, I've been with the organization 4.5 years. We just hired 2 new spouses this week. I can give them a lay of the land. So those are some ways on the spouse side of the house that we've been flexible and adjusting over the years.
No, that's huge feedback, Lizzie. I don't think I will ever get rid of all the PCS stickers on my furniture. We know the little ones with the numbers on it. Crazy. Yep. I mean, they just pop up everywhere anyway. But no, absolutely. And spouses will get done. I think my husband just got back from Japan, and I was working 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. Tough shift. Would have loved a little bit of flexibility, but no, absolutely. Now, I know that there is about 2-3 minutes left. I wanted to, open it up to our audience. I do see that we are joined by 64 people. I wanted to see if anyone had any final remarks, comments, or questions that we could help answer today.
Puppies in the background.
That's mine. Amazon's out front.
Yeah, it's better than crickets.
I have a question for Derek.
Absolutely.
Has anyone ever told you you look like Anthony Mackie from Captain America?
That's who.
Like, I keep expecting to grab like your shield and jump out the window, and Hulk Hogan's out there to take you on his back, like Hulk smash, Hulk smash.
Sounds like it with everything that he's doing and accomplished. I do have a question for you, Derek. Waffles and Whatnot. Explain the title to me. I'm dying.
The title was actually something that I came up with because you all know someone who can cook. They have something that they're really good at. What often happens with entrepreneurs is they're really good at cooking, but they don't necessarily know how to make money from the talent that they have. So if you understand the E-Myth, the entrepreneurial myth by Michael Gerber, many people have a talent. They don't know how to capitalize on that talent. So what I've done is create these systems and the processes that support specifically veterans and people like in the culinary field, support their skill that they have or their talent that they have. It's just that with the Whatnots, it's a thing that, just very quick, because I see we have less than a minute here. I wanted a thing where if you ate at our restaurant twice a day, every day of the year, you'd never get tired of it. So we have so many variations of food that we serve that you literally cannot eat our entire menu.
Awesome.
Well, that's very creative, and I'm sure you get a lot of questions regarding that title. But I did want to obviously thank Vet Indexes for this incredible opportunity. Thank our panelists for taking time out of their busy schedule, making a massive impact in our veteran community and our spouses community. The work that you guys do is very impactful. So you guys can all, pat yourselves on the back. I did want to thank everyone else for joining us. And we'll conclude there. Thank you so much, everyone.